Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Slimming Surgeon podcast. I am your host, Dr. Kandace Kichler. Today, I am kicking off season 2, episode 2. I'm here with my beautiful guest, Vicky. I'm going to give you her bio. She was supposed to be my inaugural guest for season 2, but we had a little power snafu last week when we went to record. And, you know, schedules are hectic. So we're back.
We're back and better.
We're back and better. We're not building back better, but we're back and better. And we are here to chat all the things. Let me do her bio and then we'll talk more about the new season.
Yeah, so excited.
Vicky Case on Instagram, at Vicky Case 123.
123.
Oh, Vicky Case 123. She is a senior account executive at a big corporation, we're not going to name names, who has been excelling at cultivating relationships with stakeholders. She's been leading revenue growth. She has been honored multiple times as an amazing woman for leadership and women's leadership and inclusive initiatives. She is also president of the Healthcare Business Women's Association. She's a natural connector, a natural networker. She is one of the founders of Palm Beach's The Social Circle, and she's my friend.
Oh my gosh. Every time you say that, I'm like, who are they talking about?
It's so good, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's nice to hear your accolades.
It is.
You know, we forget how great we are on our day-to-day struggle of life.
So right.
But, you know, it's nice to like just take inventory. And you've accomplished a lot.
I have, but it's been over many years. So,
yeah, of course. Well, I was just listening. Travis and I were editing an old episode. Rome wasn't built in a day, okay? I'm going to keep saying that over and over again. Okay, so we have a new podcast cover. I have a new podcast cover.
I'm staring at it right now. It is so gorgeous. I love it.
I want everyone to know that I edited I did this myself.
Are you serious?
Yes. I have an affinity to Canva. It's like my little baby. I feel like I go into this alter ego role as what are those?
A digital creator.
A digital creator. I'm a digital creator. I'm a design aficionado.
That looks so
and
good. No, seriously.
I don't just do plastic surgery. I work on Canva. Hire me.
No, and I just left a message for my leadership team. With HBA, please do this invite because we're having, as you know, we're having a holiday event for HBA. And I said, please, I don't understand Canva. Could someone do it? And so, you know, Kim, our friend Kim, she did it in about 2 seconds and it came out so good. I'm like,
it's so great.
I have to learn.
I
Just
will
sit down and do it.
I will say it's easier if you do it on like a desktop or a computer because then you can use your mouse or your mouse pad, trackpad thing to move stuff around. On your phone, it's a little more tedious because you're like trying to, you know, make sure everything's lined up. Whereas on an actual computer, it's way better. I do everything on there. I do PowerPoint presentations, like instead of PowerPoints, like Stone Age crap, you can make these gorgeous presentations with really pretty graphics, fonts,
this is great
etc.
because at the last meeting, I said, could you please come to our meeting and talk about social media because you have such a huge following. Maybe we should transition to, you know, bring some of this as well.
100%.
Right?
Yeah. Just like you can do a lot of stuff on your own, which nobody realizes. And you think you need to hire all these companies, like even just building a logo. Like I love how the Slimming Surgeon podcast looks. That is just the same font. The middle is italicized and larger, but that looks so cute. It almost looks like a logo.
Yeah. Well, I might be having to do a logo very soon. So
yay. So last time when we started recording, we were talking because you just got back from a conference. Tell me again about that little conference, networking event, whatever it exactly was, and what you learned. Do you remember?
Yes. We were, and that's when the lights went out.
Yeah. I was just about to learn this great technique.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I went to this event, actually at the event that we were at for Healthcare Business Women's Association. There was a woman who approached me she works a lot with major corporations, and she goes in and she's, I guess inspirational. She also does like a lot of corporate imaging. She invited a guest, I guess the guest comes with her on some of these types of meetings, and she was from Law and Order.
Okay.
But I think
Special Victims Unit.
I should have asked. I was so intimidated. I was like,
right?
Oh my God, like I love Law and Order. My whole pregnancy, all I did was watch Law and Order. Like, boom, boom, boom. Like that's my favorite like sound of all time, because it reminds me of being pregnant with my daughter. Anyway, so what we did was a lot of improv.
Okay.
And you don't really think of a corporate event that you're going to be doing improv, but it was so great. And we did like, as a singer would rehearse before she would get on stage, doing like all these facial exercises, getting like today, we should have totally done this before we got on. And it's just like loosens up your like the throat area.
I needed to do that today. I had a very important meeting today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it.
No, we won't.
We will at some point, but yeah, I should have done some breath work.
It's all about the breath. And everyone is always, you always hear about breathe, just breathe, just breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a yoga person. And I just,
me either.
God, I don't understand the breath of all that. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But through these exercises, there is something to be said for that. And in fact, it did make me much more relaxed. And what was so great is we were with a bunch of women, and because we're we're doing improv.
Yeah.
We were just cracking up. Now, these are all strangers at the beginning of the conference. It was a 2-day conference, but you're just laughing. And that is the best thing. That's the best way to really meet other people, I think, is just like comedic relief.
Yeah, in a stress-free environment.
Yeah,
not
for
like
sure.
a purposeful,
And no judging. There was
no judging.
I hate the judging, but there was no judging, and it was just such a wonderful experience. And I'm always invited to these types of things, and I really did carve out the time for this one, especially because she supports the HBA.
Yeah.
Anyone who wants to support the HBA, just like you.
I
Thank you
love
so
that.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. Like you, I love networking and connecting with people.
And
Why
you're
not?
so good at it.
You never know who you're going to meet, how you can help them, or how they can help you. And that's what life's all about. Exactly.
I stalked you. I was like, I need to meet this girl. And then we met for coffee with some of our other friends.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm so inspired by what you're trying to do. Plus, everyone's talking about what you do every day, which is the surgeon.
Yeah.
And how amazing your work is. And then you have this podcast. And there's lots of different podcasts out there, but you definitely have a lot of notoriety. Like, people are absolutely talking about you so much. And I was like, I have to meet her. So we just met for coffee, and we had a mutual friend.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kathleen from Society Salon. And because we both got our hair done there. At the time. And you met, and you were so gracious with your time, and here we are. And now we're friends, and now you come to events. And
I know, I love
amazing.
it. Well, I get that a lot, that little comment that you said about like how I was gracious with my time. I feel that everyone's time is important.
Right.
Like, I don't care what your job is, what your role is, how old you are, how young you are, it's just about being a good person and a nice person. And like, if you want to connect with me, I want to connect with you. Why not? Like,
right. And
why wouldn't I?
You never know.
You never know. So I think I want to talk a little bit about, the corporate world. We're not going to get crazy with it because we have so much fun stuff to talk about, but I also want to have, some strategy to this episode for some of our listeners, because as there are young girls who follow us, who get inspired, consider us mentors. And I think giving our experience in corporate settings can be helpful for somebody who's, in college and just like moving through life, or maybe going through a career change. I'll give my experience, and we can just like talk about a couple like hot points. But I previously worked for a really large corporation. Like, after training, during training, fellowship, Cleveland Clinic, Florida, huge corporation. I really loved that environment. Granted, I was only there for 1 year, and I think, things can sour or things can really blossom depending on how happy you are, what role you have, how you can grow, etc. But I loved the corporate vibes. Like, I loved the branding. I loved the strategy. I loved the organization of everything. Like, I love when there is like
structure,
as little chaos as possible. You know, like when you're a surgeon, there's lots of chaos all the time.
Lots of chaos, but when you're with a corporation, there is some sort of structure.
Exactly.
Involved
it's
in
like,
that.
okay.
And you sort of know what's expected of you.
Exactly. Right.
And by the way, I love the Cleveland Clinic. So that was one of my big accounts.
Yeah.
Such a, I really do love Cleveland Clinic. I think that you're after college. So you mentioned college, right?
Yeah.
You know, what to do after college. I have a daughter who goes to University of Miami, and I am mentoring some other.
Shout out to Presley.
She's
Follow
on
her
your
on
podcast, TikTok and Instagram, and she. So I have been mentoring and helping postgraduates try to find jobs in healthcare.
Yeah,
and it is. They sort of go from having the best time in college, with their friends, studying really, really hard, and absolutely thinking they're going to come out of the gate with this amazing, high-paying job, and it's just going to be so easy. Mm-hmm. It is so hard to find a job of something and a job that they will absolutely love.
Sure.
And it's a long day. I mean, I remember when I got out of school, I was like, wait, what? Like, I have to work how many hours?
And drive a lot of places. You know, depending on what your role is. Yeah, you may be going to different accounts. Yep. Like, you know, we're kind of discussing, mine was obviously a surgeon role or a fellow role. You're more like a sales and account executive role. Like, obviously each title is going to have different responsibilities, but yeah, most of the time you're putting in long hours, especially right when you're starting.
Yeah. But I do think I had such a great, the training that I got through all these years is just, I always say it's like where I do work right now is like the Harvard of healthcare companies, one of the largest. And I am so grateful for the training and the discipline. And that is so important and I think that my daughter and her friends who I've met very quickly since she's been at University of Miami are so disciplined. And that is the key, showing up, having discipline, as well as having that enthusiasm and the passion for what they're doing, whether it's a class that they don't even want to do, because we're all going to have to do things we don't want to do. There's always going to be something about the job that is like, oh, I really just don't want to do my expense account today, or I really just don't want to go see that customer. That's so annoying. Or for you, some patient, like, oh my God.
I would never say that.
I know. You love all your patients, all my customers. But I do think it is hard for this generation because they just are sort of have this belief that they're just going to come out running
and everything's going to be amazing.
Everything's so amazing. It's not.
Before we keep going, I want to emphasize what you just said about the training that you will get in a corporate setting. That is huge. One of the biggest takeaways I took from Cleveland Clinic was the training that I had in orientation. When you talk to a patient, you know, when you're in a room together and you're talking to them about having a surgery, you know, like they're being cut open, it's very jarring. It can be very anxiety provoking. It can be very happy too, of course, obviously, in what I do now, especially. But one of the biggest things that they taught me in this training, it was like totally like psychological training. It was like the way to connect, or one of the ways to connect with the patients and let them know, or subconsciously help them understand that you were hearing them, is to ask them certain things. And, you know, I genuinely ask these things and I do genuinely want to know the answer, but simply stating, what other questions do you have?
Right.
Is huge, because then it's saying, it's opening the door for more questions. It's acknowledging that you guys have had a conversation, that you might have questions, and it's not a close-ended statement question type thing where it's like, you don't have any more questions, do you? You know?
Right, exactly. Or if you have any more questions, just
email
us a call.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
No, it's very much giving the focus to the patient or your client or whomever. And I literally take that into every single room with me. I always end with that because it does make a huge difference. And I've never had one person say, oh, she didn't let me ask questions.
And I do think people are intimidated too. They probably go and say, when I go to the doctor, I'm going to ask these 10 questions. And then they get there and they're just like blank faced because there's just they're scared, they're intimidated. And so that's so great that you do that. And I have been a patient. I have come see you and you are like that. You're just very real. And just the fact that you're saying that and you're just making it very like you're putting people at ease. And by the way, there's not many in this area, female doctors.
surgeons
So,
or
I mean,
doctors. Yeah.
That is, I don't know why, because this is such a, like this area, right?
Yeah.
You would think,
Right.
It's like the new Beverly Hills in a way. You really not monopoly, like you really have the corner of the market and you have such an amazing reputation and your work is incrable. And I'm not just
really
saying
sweet.
that because I'm sitting across
Yeah.
from you. I promise you, but like you're really
on my podcast.
No, you do have an amazing reputation inside the office and outside the office. And that's really important too. You're not a different person.
Right. Yes.
Either way.
Yeah. I think that's important.
And I don't know how you, with your 2 kids, you're a thriving business, you're involved in many different things. And like I said, you took the time to meet with me and now we're like great friends, which is amazing. That takes a lot of discipline and that comes from training. It comes from training.
And I think just always holding yourself accountable and being responsible. Yeah, it's super easy for you or me any day to just decide not to do something that we already committed to. I'm sick, from Mean Girls.
That's my pet peeve.
That is, yeah. Oh my God. Like if I said I'm going to do something, if I said I'm going to be there, like it's extremely rare that I'm not. Like it has to be an extensive issue. Like I'll say this thing because I don't think a lot of them are listening, but one day I just completely forgot about a meeting. I realized when somebody texted me and I was like, oh shoot, I'm supposed to be on that call right now. I said, oh no, sorry. I was with an emergency. I was not with an emergency. I just forgot. But I still got on. I freshened up. I put my scrubs back on. I was at home chilling. I put my scrubs back on and I logged into that Zoom because I was like, I committed to this meeting. I told these people I was going to be here. It's so unprofessional of me to not show up at all. Yeah, I'm late. Yeah, I forgot about it. They don't need to know why, but I'm here.
Right.
And it's just being accountable.
It is being accountable. And I really do, and I hate to say this too, but I do see a difference between different types of people that I'm friends with. So those who are in the corporate world or they have jobs that they have to be accountable for, and ones that maybe don't are the ones that you sometimes don't show up to things and say, I have a stomach ache, I have a headache. You know from our last season how much that is just it just drives me crazy. If we could switch gears to the party that we went to last week. It was so fun.
Yes. Yes. Birthday party
for our good friend.
And that's another thing. She asked me to come.
Yes.
She's a sweet, sweet girl. We love her. Of course I'm going to come to your party. Yeah. I'm going to make things happen. I'm busy, but so I would want somebody to come to my party.
Right. And
we love parties.
And then when you get there, you're very present and you want to have fun. I was saying, on a Thursday night to dance to Donna Summer. How fun is that? Why would you not want to be in an environment with people who like you and there's music, there's drinks, there's fun. We're surrounded by great people. And it's, and I actually had a conversation with our friend a couple of days later and it was a little oh, well, so-and-so didn't come. And they said they were coming. They didn't come. I don't understand. I understand that things can come up.
Of course. Last minute, emergencies.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I am realizing more and more maybe it's as you get older, or I don't know what it is, but social anxiety is such a thing that I never realized until recently. I'm like, wow, that's.
Well, I don't know if it's always been a thing and we didn't realize it, or if it literally is getting worse because of social media.
Right.
People are used to being on their phones, so they're not connecting with people in person, but also they're seeing everyone's highlight reel and feeling less confident in themselves, which gives them anxiety to go out in public and be
what am I going to wear?
Photo ready
Yes.
for everything. No, I get it. I mean, it impacts every single one of us basically every single day. But my take on it is don't commit to something you don't want to go to.
Exactly.
If you're like that, just say no.
And I had it. Well, I won't really get into this whole story, but there was somebody who says no a lot.
Yeah.
So at some point, the invites have
then
to
you're
stop.
gonna not
the invites
invite
have to
them.
stop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, but then that's always like, because of social media, you can't hide the things that you're doing. So listen, you and I do love social media. I really like, it's terrible to say, but I'm like, oh, what's happening with Menendez brothers? Let me go on TikTok to find out. Like, instead of like, hey, I'm going to watch the news later. Like, I am very,
I do the same thing.
Right.
There was something I was trying to look up the other day and I was like, let me check TikTok, because you get the real story there. First of all, that's the other thing.
For sure.
We all
in real
know
time.
in 2024 that the media is biased. So it's like, we might as well go to like these independent,
I know. Right?
although sometimes they can obviously be lying, but I feel like they're not.
And I feel like I'm smarter now because I watch Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, the Menendez brothers. Okay. Scott Peterson. Okay. Anna Delvey. Like, now I know the whole story.
Right.
So between social media and Netflix, where I'm just like,
We're well informed.
So I was on a show last week. Did you know about my crime show?
Oh, okay. And did Margaret go on with you?
So Margaret, our friend Margaret, came on. It's actually a
we
funny
love
story.
Marg.
Yeah.
I call her Marg on the side. She doesn't know that I call her that, but I love her, and that's my nickname.
So what happened was, I was asked to go on a show. It's called the Danny Minor Show, and it's called The Minor Details, but it's literally crime.
I love that.
So he asked me to go on the show. I'm not even like a lover of crime, but recently I'm so into all these things that are happening. I mean, like, not to get into, can't even go into the Diddy thing. That's just so disgusting. But like, what is happening in our society? And it's just really like very, very scary times. So he asked me to go on the show, and I was like, I have to grab a friend. I have to grab a friend because I'm going to be on the show for 1 hour. And speaking of going on TikTok, I was doing like all this research because I think we were going to talk about the Menendez brothers. And I am familiar with that case. But there was other cases. I was like, I hope he doesn't ask me about, this other one that I don't know. So I was like doing like this whole thing on TikTok, trying to find all relevant things about people. But what I love about Margaret and people like Margaret is I called her.
She always says yes.
Noted. I was like, hey, I'm coming to pick you up right now. We're going to go on the show. She's like, done. I'll see you. I'll put on eyeliner and I'm going to be there. And I was like, oh my God. And we had the best time pre-show, during the show, and then after the show.
Yeah.
And we have some ideas of things that we want to actually do just to have fun because
she's so good. I love her.
Yeah.
That's a yes person.
She's a yes
and
person.
look at how much she's accomplished in her life, how well connected she is. I mean, this isn't to shame people who are introverts because I know it can be very tough to like put yourself out there. Like we go through it daily, but you reap what you sow. The harder you work to improve your brand, improve your presence, improve your notoriety and your networking, connections, the more you're going to see the results.
100%. And I do hope that I have helped people along the way. I've had a few people that I've worked with have said, I'm not saying because of me, but seeing how I work in action with networking, collaborating with other people, I don't know. I think that maybe I've helped some people along the way because it is a skill. Just like everything we do, you just don't wake up born certain ways. You have to learn these skills. And I do think, being in corporate America, I really did have to learn these, how to do all these things. But
and I think the other thing about corporate is that it is a smaller community than you think. Like once you know X, Y, and Z of X corporation, you guys, we guys, they guys, whatever, the people, they all kind of flip-flop. You may stay in the same company for 20 years, but Joe who was with X firm, but now he's with Y firm, and you can give him a phone call to get someone else hired with X or Y. Knowing each other, staying connected, and keeping those connections alive, I think is important and something that you do have to realize about the corporate world because they're never going to forget. Also, so if you treat someone really nasty, they're going to remember.
So I'm actually leaving corporate America, and I will be leaving corporate America probably in the next couple of weeks. And I'm going to do some other things that I'm really, really excited about. I have been manifesting what I want to do for a year now, and I just needed to get all the pieces together, and they're all coming together right now. And I'm so excited. So I'm taking everything that I've learned, and I'm going to be going out on my own. And
I love it.
I know, so excited. And one thing that I did is I said, I'm going to reach out, and this is what I've been doing for the past few months. I said, I'm going to be reaching out to every successful woman that I know in this area and even outside the area. I'm from New York City. Talk to people in New York City too, and just pick their brains about how did they start their own business and how did they become so successful. And that is all just networking. And that is what I've literally been doing. Like every day my friends are like, what do you do? I'm like, I have another meeting. I have another meeting.
You had even after the podcast last week, I had to go. When we didn't record, you had a meeting.
I had a meeting.
And I had a meeting. And so we had to reschedule a week away, which is fine. But
this, I have to go.
I love it.
For a meeting. So the generosity of people, I cannot wait to do a post and just like, thank every single, including yourself, every single woman and man who have helped me through this process. And there have been some bumps in the road. I actually had a bump in the road the other day by my, I don't even want to say, but it was a man who I needed to ask him not legal advice, some business advice. And he was like barking at me. And I just was like, seriously? Like, what do you... The way that sometimes men speak to us infuriates me. And then, 99% great. But then yesterday, there's another business that somebody wants me to get involved in. And I had a few concerns. And I said, and this was a phone call. So I said, I just want to say, like, I don't really understand why we're not doing X, Y, and Z. And he said, well, you're not a doctor. I said, well, I'm in the medical field. Like I preface it by saying I'm a medical. He said, you're not a doctor. And I was like, well, how do you know I'm not a doctor?
Right.
And he barked at me. So that's my new thing. Don't bark at me because I'll just shut down. But most people have been amazing. Yeah. But I have to say, like, as we still, I think we still deal with that sometimes.
Totally.
And it's so upsetting.
It is. But I think the majority, like you said, of people that you're looking to learn from are going to be gracious. And fabulous. I think it's so important. I'm noticing my broken nail right now. Hopefully that's not zoomed in on the camera. I think what's so important when you're trying to do something and accomplish a goal or move to the next level is to look to someone else who has done that or who has accomplished more than you or who has, maybe connected with people in a different way that you're inspired by. Because if you only listen to, your close friends or your family who are staying the same, relatively, or know you as this one person, it's very difficult to get the correct advice on how to get to the next level from someone who is happy with how you are. Exactly. That's something that I've learned lately. If I want to grow, if I want to do something different, if I want to be this bigger, badder, bossier girl, like I have to take advice from someone who's a bigger, badder, bossier 100%. Girl. I can't take advice from someone who has not done anything different in the last 25 years. Yes. What do I have to learn?
And I feel like as women, we're such chatterboxes. So we're like, hey, what do you think of that? Like I had dinner just the other night with some friends. I'm like, why would you even want to do all that work? Like, it just seems like a lot. Like, why not just like chill? I'm like,
those are not people to take advice from.
I was like, okay.
Those are the friends to just like,
but
go shopping with maybe.
Exactly. Yeah. Those are going to be my shopping buddies, but it's not going to be, who I would take advice from. But
yeah. Well, even the girl that I had, so Victoria Larson, who was on the last episode, her and I are friends. We started as friends through Instagram, but it's the same thing. She's like, I love that you're an entrepreneur. I love that you're doing stuff. I like friends who are doing things. Yeah. I think the doers connect.
I think, and I think we all do want to be inspired. And that's when I look at and I tell my daughter too, like, look to friends who are going to inspire you and are going to lift you up. We always say that. It's so cliche, like, oh, surround yourself. Like,
no, but literally listen to what people are saying you. Here's some advice. So not some advice, but a side story. I have a really close friend who had a friend who was constantly giving her negative criticism and just saying like, oh, well, why do you look like that? Oh, well, why are you doing that? And, so-and-so was talking about you and saying this. That's not a friend. No. Like, that's not someone who's uplifting you. I told her, I was like, get that person out of your life. Like, they're not your friend. Yeah, so why are they pretending to be your friend just for association? I don't quite get it.
Yeah, no, that's awful.
They clearly don't like you.
Yeah. And that's something that you really have. Not everyone's going to like you, and that's okay. I mean, I think sometimes when people see the conservative company that I worked for. I don't really fit the mold of any of that.
Yeah.
But I was an individual and I didn't care. I just, for some reason, my whole life, I just didn't care. And I wish that for anybody.
Yeah.
I really don't. And I truly say, I'm not saying that, and I don't mean, I truly don't care. Like, I will literally walk down Worth Avenue with a microphone and a tutu that is so huge.
Yeah.
And be singing and dancing. And people are like filming me. And I'm like, whatever, because I'm me. And that is so important. And I wish, if I could wish anything from my daughter, it's just be you, but really, really, really
embrace it.
And don't care what other people think.
I think you're more successful when you embrace your true, authentic self.
100%.
I think when you try to fit a mold, which this is good advice, because, you know, if I'm going to label this something about being a corporate girly, because I feel like it'll get good clicks or something. But if you're going to go into the corporate world, you're going to have this expectation or thought or notion maybe that you need to fit a certain mold. But here we are with Vicky, successful 20 plus years in that industry, being her own person.
Yes.
Like, just do you.
Just
people will love it. Or if they don't, they're not your people, and you move on and don't let them bother you.
Right. And listen, the workforce is, it's not easy to find good people in the workforce.
Yeah.
So people who are exceptional will just move up the ladder so quickly. And that is one thing that I've been hearing too, as I've been meeting with more and more executives about the workforce. And I don't know, some people just, I'm hearing lazy. I'm hearing don't want to show up to the office.
Uninterested, not
engaged. And I was talking to one, the CEO of one company, and I said, well, what's your culture like?
Sure.
Like, is it a fun environment? Do they want to come to work, or are you managing by fear?
Yeah.
Because that's not going to work.
No.
It might work in the short term, but in the long term, as soon as that happens, people are looking for another job. Because you don't want to feel like your parents, like when you're little and you're getting in trouble. Like, you don't want that workforce either. And so again, you have to enjoy what you're doing. You have to have fun. And if you're in a bad environment, then yes, move on. But if you're exceptional and you can do this job, I think people will rise to the top quicker now than ever.
Yeah, I agree. You're right. There's less people. It's weird. It's like there's less people wanting to work.
I know. How are these people paying their bills? I don't understand.
I think they're TikTokers, or maybe they're on OnlyFans.
Maybe
I don't know. Not TikTokers, YouTubers. Okay. I watch so many YouTube videos with Charlie because that's like our wind down routine in the evening. This is going to sound horrible to parents that are listening because they're like, you should be reading to your son or something. I don't care. We watch YouTube. So he's really into like fishing YouTubes or hunting YouTubes, or this one little kid does gaming with his dad, Hudson's Playground. And I'm just looking at these people. They have 12, 22, 19 million subscribers. And you know that they're literally making a living off of making YouTube videos. So I think that's what these people are doing. don't show up in the present day. No, 100%. Listen, if I could do that.
Well, this is the show I was on. This is a retired cop from Philadelphia.
Yeah. And he's probably making way more than he did as an officer.
Moved to Las Vegas and he's just doing what he loves. And that's the key, right?
Yes, passion.
They're just I watch YouTube all the time. By the way, YouTube can solve any problem.
And by the way, these episodes are now on YouTube.
That's amazing.
So if you are listening and you want to see what Vicky and I look like, fabulous, you can search it on YouTube, the Slimming Surgeon Podcast, and take a look.
Yeah, no, I love YouTube. I don't know what I would do without YouTube because I solve all my household problems that way.
Yeah.
Just look it up. I'm like, oh, this is why my dryer is not working today. And they just like,
oh, I need to do that. Yeah. My dryer is messed up. It's not messed up. It's making a weird noise.
Yeah. Well, I could probably help you with that.
Yeah. I'm handy. Are you handy? Like, do you fix it yourself or do you make your husband do it?
No, my husband he doesn't want to do it. So I have, so I do things. I also have a friend, which is always great to have a friend. Who's super handy. And I just realized I have 2 friends and we're all friends and we didn't know that the other one was so handy.
Oh.
I'm like, this is amazing. So I do have handy friends.
Yes.
But I'm not so handy, but YouTube is definitely helping a little bit better.
I love it. I get such pleasure out of like moving light fixtures. Cause it's like, I haven't done it since my last house. The new house, we have somebody that did it, but you know, in my old house, we switched the boys' bedrooms around, or it was only Charlie's bedroom. We didn't have a cam at the time, but I was like, okay, I don't like this light fixture. I want it to go in this room. I want this fan to go in this room. And I did all of them. Like I needed Nick to hold things because he's tall, but I did all the wire connecting. I did all the screws. Like I love doing that.
So
it makes you feel so good.
Well, what I love
and smart
is organizing.
Yes.
It is my favorite thing to do. And redoing my closet over and over. And over. I don't know why
you would have a heyday at my house.
Oh, really? I love that.
Because it's totally disheveled and not disheveled. Not organized like I would like it to be.
Oh my gosh!
And then
totally
I have
coming over.
I know, and all the boys' clothes too. Like there's so many clothes that I've saved for Cam from Charlie that are just like all the sizes are mixed up. And
oh no, I'll come over.
No offense,
it's my
but like
favorite thing.
I had my nanny do it one day, but then it just didn't work. I don't know. Like they were still not matched up, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna ask her to do that again.
No, that's my favorite. I love it. I love it. And yeah.
Okay. No, sorry, not to interrupt you. Let's go over a couple more corporate girly items just so we can get through my bullet points, and then we'll go back to our wonderful jib jab and closets. I would say pros of working in a corporate setting, like you said, is a lot of predictability as far as like, you know what your role is, you know what's not your role. You know that you have control over X situation and you know you don't have control over Y situation. And I think that peace of mind, even though some things can frustrate you and not be perfect, at least you know this is how it is.
Yes.
You know, they're very black and white.
Very black and white.
And I loved that. When I was a surgeon employed in a corporate setting, that was nice because I knew certain things were on my plate and certain things were not. And then I just went about my day with the things that were not, or that were. And then the other great thing I feel like with a large corporation is like your benefits package. You know, they have like these amazing insurances, 401ks, HSA, like all this stuff, all the things that if you're going to go be an entrepreneur or work for a small business, those things are going to be harder to come by, or may take a little more effort or time, or they may be not as wonderful, but still effective. That's a big difference.
And also the resources are plentiful.
Yes.
So there is, if you have a question, there's about 75,000 people who can answer your question.
Yeah.
Like there's an 800 number for that. There's an 800 number for this. So, and then they have.
Which can feel cold. It can make you feel cold when it's so large, when the corporation's so large. And like, I don't know who Pam is in Nashville, you know?
Right, exactly. That is true.
But.
That is true. But they also have.
But they do answer.
But they do also have the resources to produce really quality materials and, you know, and
marketing and branding and those things. No, totally.
That's huge. So it is, there are so many advantages, but especially for a young person coming out, the benefits that you will get in a big corporation are pretty amazing.
I think it's so important. And that's kind of why when you touched on training, I wanted to emphasize that, because I think if I could do it all again and I were going maybe into like a corporate sales position, I would 100% work for like a really big corporation, like learn as much as I can learn from them and then do something entrepreneurial, you know, because you're going to learn the ins and outs, like how they manage big projects, how they don't, how they market, what market strategies work and which ones don't. And then, you know, learn about all the things. And then you take that information, you run with it. Right. I think just starting out with not a, you know, trial and error is just a little frustrating.
And I think for somebody like me, that I was in sales and I worked in hospitals as well. I've had many different jobs within this one organization in different states, different roles. But my last one was, you know, working in a hospital, and the roadmap that you have to create for yourself, and you really have to push yourself for that networking. And it's like a giant, I always say like a hospital's like a giant party. And I know that sounds so crazy because hospital's the anti-party, but I'm trying to get everybody to the party. I'm trying to create an environment that they want to see me, that I'm providing value, that I'm not wasting anyone's time. I'm there for a reason, to help. And I do think that it is really important, like I said, every day that you're out there, that you're just making a difference, whether it's just showing up and smiling. Seriously, like I worked hospitals during COVID, and that was one of the things that when customers talk back to me about how much they appreciate just showing up and just with a smile. I know that sounds so silly, but I do believe that that was I really did try to make a little bit of a difference during that awful time in our history. But corporate has its advantages, but then it also has its disadvantages.
Yeah, I would say
you're not in control of
disadvantage. You're not in control. You don't have as much autonomy as you some days are really going to want. And I think to your point about the things that you're going to be doing, you know, when you're working in a corporate setting, you don't really have the authority to do outside work, you know, like to do your side hustles, to brand yourself in a way that isn't like almost you can't even brand yourself at all sometimes, you know, because you're not allowed to.
And the other thing too, I will say that is so important is your first line manager. That is like, sometimes they'll say a manager is even more critical even than a husband sometimes.
Sure.
Because you're spending so much of your time with that person and they're in charge of your success sometimes, right? So if you do go at a job interview and you don't jive well,
like if you immediately know that it's not going to be good,
just run. Even if the job sounds amazing, if you're working for somebody that you cannot get along with and you don't see eye to eye, it's not going to work. That is an important part of working, is just working with people that are going to help you be successful. And there are some bad apples, just like with any other profession.
Sure.
But I have had the pleasure of working with so many amazing managers and their managers, and I've had so many successful people around me and really helping me. But I think that's because also I'm asking for help, or I'm asking them to teach me.
Right. Ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, for sure.
I have like all the little slogans today.
I love that. That's so great.
Don't quote me. It's not my own.
I love that.
No, but it's true. If you don't ask for help, no one's going to help you. If no one knows what you're struggling with, then they can't guide you in the direction that you're trying to go.
But be confident, and no question's a stupid question.
Yes.
Ever.
Yeah. That's so important.
Don't be intimidated, and just be you and let them love you for who you are. If you know, again, but you got to come with it.
Yes.
You got to be a badass.
So tell us let's transition to like, okay, life beyond corporate. Like, what do you do? I feel like there's going to be a grieving process, you know, like when you go from an identity that you've had for so long and then you're going to rebrand yourself or redo, like in anything, like, you know, let's say I've had the same job for 3 years and I'm changing. It's still the same, you know, like you have to embrace that there's going to be a change. There's going to be a struggle. There's going to be moments where you're doubting what you're doing, but life goes on. So like, what's your outlook? What's your motivation? What are you recommending for people who are going to that next step, no matter what age it may be?
Yeah. So like I said, I have been really thinking about this for about a year now. And it may be a grieving process, but what I am going to do is make a very conscious effort also to stay in touch with people who I'm working with now, because they're an incredible bunch of people. So definitely staying in touch, being very entrenched within the community. And I am going to grieve probably aspects of it, but it's like a relationship. It's just over. Like I'm over. Well, look at my shirt. Everyone, my shirt says over it.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sort of, it ran its course.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited about the future. I'm not really one to ever look back. I'm always looking forward, but I'll always cherish and be so appreciative of the experience that I have had. But I am excited, and I think that's taking over the grieving, because I'm so excited about things that I have in store. But the people, that's who I'll grieve.
Yeah, exactly. The relationships.
Right.
You know.
The relationships. But I'm very good at creating experiences. Like we're going to go to one soon. Two, actually. We have one for HBA,
Alice and Olivia.
One for the social circle at Alice and Olivia. We both love Alice and Olivia. That's oh God. Wait till you see the collection that they're coming out with for this event.
I got the preview. I get the emails, sneak peeks, and I'm like, that's adorable. That's adorable. That's adorable. Like they could just take all my money, right?
It's for real. Like
I used to have a promo code, Kandace 15. Try it, but I don't know because they just
great events. They love you there. Oh my!
And I love them. I think I'm actually having one in December.
Yeah,
I haven't finalized it, but I'm meeting with the manager soon. But they I think they just went like a different way of their promo code situation. I don't know, but I think I don't know. We'll have to try it one day.
Well,
but
you had what event?
Shop My, they're like, oh, you need to join Shop My. I don't have time to join another platform and like re-influence in another method. Like I got a lot on my plate. But I do
they
love
you. And that pink. She wore a pink suit once. Oh my God.
I have 2 pink suits from them. They're both so good.
Oh my gosh, they're so. I know. I have searched everywhere in the whole entire world to find it, and I can't find it. It's sold out everywhere. So.
I know another girl. I know another girl who has it, and she actually lives locally.
Oh, really?
You should be like, sell it to me.
Oh my gosh. Well, I did find.
Well, I think she lives locally.
I found a dupe. Well, not a dupe, but I found one in Bloomingdale's, and it was Khloe Kardashian. What's her? Not Khloe. Yeah, Khloe. Good American. I was like, all right, this will have to do.
Yeah,
it was all right.
I love their stuff too. I love their stuff too.
So, by the way, tomorrow is like my favorite day.
Halloween.
I mean, that's a day that I can really just go like.
What are you dressing up as?
Well, I would love to tell you.
Oh, okay. It's a surprise.
But I have every
Well, this
year,
is going to go.
It's going to go later. Okay,
this is going to air later.
So
what did you dress up as? I'm being present tense past. Whatever. Okay.
So last year, I'm usually like either Paris Hilton or Barbie are like my 2 favorite. But this year I'm under construction.
Okay. Cute.
Yeah, I'm under construction. So
I love
that's
that.
what sort of my vibe is right now, you know?
Yeah.
So, but every year my friends and I get together and we have a contest. So we will all go to lunch tomorrow and we have prizes. And
oh my God.
we have one girl that wins every year. So I can't wait to see what she's going to be tomorrow. But last year.
It's like a costume contest?
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is so fun.
And we take it very seriously.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to win because under construction's not like that fab. But we have one friend. Last year she was a Karen and it was the funniest thing in the entire world.
That's so
it was
good.
so funny. So, and then in my neighborhood, probably like yours, there's so many kids.
Yeah.
And I'd always do a nice situation at my house. So yeah, tomorrow, fun. I love Halloween.
I don't even have a costume for tomorrow.
Really?
I know.
My God.
Well, I've been like doing a lot side stuff. So it's just been like on the back burner. And I'm trying to do a family photo shoot on Sunday. So that's taken priority.
That's the
like
worst.
We're doing all denim. It's going to be so cute. We're doing it like out in the preserve in Florida. It's going to be like gorge, country chic.
And by the way, I don't know if people probably don't know this, but like your neighborhood got so affected by the tornado. So thank God everything's okay.
Yeah, I was.
And our heart goes out to all those.
I am so lucky. Yeah, I feel so bad for so many of our neighbors. Like that was tragic.
Terrible. Because, you know, I lived in New Orleans during Katrina. So I lost my home in Hurricane Katrina. And that we were all bracing for the hurricane. Yeah. And then who knew that there's tornadoes? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Okay, this is so crazy, but I like felt like we were going to get a tornado.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, this is tornado land. Like we're going to get tornadoes out here. Because it's just, we're in a community that's just land. It's like wide open space. Like it reminds you of the Midwest. And that's where you see all those crazy tornadoes. I mean, I am not a meteorologist. I'm sure there's no scientific basis behind what I just said. Yeah, but I had a feeling. I was like, we're going to get a tornado. Like I don't care about the hurricane.
So
I can handle winds.
What did you do?
We went into a downstairs room that had no windows and doors or whatever, or it had a door, obviously. Got into it. But we went and sheltered because we literally saw it. So my sister was on the phone and her friend in Alabama, of all places, was like, hey, I think there's a tornado by you. And Kylie's like, oh, y'all, like, where's Loxahatchee something? And none of us were listening. And our phones went off and we ignored it. And then she walks outside and there's a tornado ripping through our neighborhood. She's like, get inside. Like everybody's sheltered. Da, da, da. So we take the babies, like the kids, it's Nick, my husband, his best friend, Kylie, and we just like shelter for several minutes. We have there's like an air vent or whatever situation in your bathrooms that connects to the roof. And you could hear just like banging, 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 like heavy, heavy winds. And then all of a sudden it kind of calmed down and we're like, okay, well we lived, so let's go check it out. And luckily it went like beyond us. But she saw it huge and we saw it as it had already passed, just massive. It looked like it was half a mile wide. It ended up being an F3, which out of F1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. I don't even know if anybody's ever had a 5, but yeah, it's cray cray.
Cray
cray off the chain.
I was like, oh my God. Like, are you okay? And I know
I had so many texts that night. I mean, it was very nice how many messages I got. I was like, wow, I feel so loved. Like all these people know that I live here and are worried about me. Like it was very heartwarming. But luckily we were totally fine. And I feel so bad because there were people who lost, I think there were 11 homes which doesn't seem like a lot to people listening in other parts of the country who've, went through devastation. But 11 homes were just like completely like whatever they call it, where they can't be recovered. They've got to be totally rebuilt or something.
That is so
in our Publix.
And it's a brand new.
Yeah, brand new. Like everything's within like 2 or 3 years old.
Wow.
I know. I'd be like, wow, that would, I don't know. I don't want to say my random comments. Okay. Well, I mean, we're basically at an hour. We've had our lovely little chat.
I could stay here for hours and talk to you.
I know.
By the way, your teeth look gorgeous. What is happening? They're so beautiful and white.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like a commercial.
This is fabulous news. I'm actually seeing my orthodontist tomorrow.
No way.
I go to Angela D. Fabrique.
Me too.
D. Fabrique
I love
Abusi.
him. Yes.
No, I go to the girl. I go to the wife.
Oh.
Angela.
Oh, okay. I go to the...
She's Palm Beach Orthodontics.
Okay.
We'll just say it because it's public knowledge. Her ex-husband is a dentist, I think a general dentist, and she's an orthodontist. She has a fabulous practice. Tiger Woods goes there. Other people... I hope that's public knowledge.
Oh, great. I have to edit that one out. Well, Tiger Woods is everywhere.
It is what it is.
I mean, it
is what it is. He's wearing retainers. I'm assuming. I don't know. I didn't look at the medical records.
But they look great.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's been a little bit of a journey. I actually did Smile Direct Club, which has now gone bankrupt. I guess they did some type of fraud situation.
Oh, no.
I know. Whoops. And I got a moderately good result with Smile Direct Club, but then when I had
is it a
Cam, either Charlie or Cam, one of the two, I stopped. No, it's a retainer system. So they're clear retainers. It's like Invisalign, but much less
at night,
intense.
Just at night.
Yeah, that's what I do. Okay, so I'll tell you my journey. So I did Smile Direct Club. I got a pretty good result. I had a baby, and when I was postpartum, I stopped wearing them for 6 weeks, and then I shifted so much that I needed to have my teeth rescanned to get new retainers. So then I go to Angela, Dr. Angela. She's amazing. Like everybody I know goes to her. So I was like, well, she must be the best. So I went there and she rescanned me. It was so easy. I think the first month that you wear it 24/7, but I'm not compliant. I'm not a compliant patient. So I would wear them as much as possible, but then definitely at night. And then I'm on my second, package of them. And I'm supposed to be wearing them day and night, but I'm only wearing them at night. And she's like, that's okay. You're just going to have to wear them a little longer.
So
I just wear a retainer at night. It's clear.
I need much more information because they look phenomenal. And I just went to the other office and I'm waiting for the proposal of what I'm going to have to do.
You should go get a second opinion.
But I didn't know about the night thing. I thought it was all day, all
night. They're going to tell you that, at least at first.
Okay.
And so mine are called Spark. And they're they've got very great branding. I actually know one of their, I'm good friends with one of their sales reps. And it's just super easy. You get
Spark.
It was similar to Smile Direct Club in that they just scan your teeth with this 3D camera.
Okay.
They put it on a computer. They do their little thing. They tweak it. They tell Dr. D. Fabrique, she adjusts to how she wants my smile to change. She widened my smile, which is so interesting. This is actually moderately good content because I feel like people care about teeth.
No, they
When
do.
you smile, if your teeth don't go from corner to corner, it makes your smile not look as beautiful. But if your teeth, which you whiten as well, are wider and fill in your smile from corner to corner, it's a more aesthetically pleasing look.
Okay.
So she's been widening my smile, which I love. And I think that's made a huge difference. I'm not done yet though, because I'm missing a tooth. I have a baby tooth still,
Really?
legit, a 31-year-old tooth. No, I'm not 31. I have a baby tooth that I'm going to have to get a cap on so that I have a full, a prettier profile on that side. But
wow.
But
okay.
otherwise, I'm very happy.
I've learned so much because
right?
I've really been.
This is a tooth podcast now.
I know. I love it. And they're so white. What do you use a whitener?
I actually don't. And I don't use fluoride because I'm woo-woo like that. And I think fluoride is really bad for your brain. So and none of my kids use fluoride either. I don't care.
I did that too. And
Whatever.
I think I had bouts for that when my daughter was little. I was like, no, we can't do fluoride. Then I was like, yes, you can do fluoride. No, you don't.
Yeah,
I
no, they tell you, I forget the word, the terminology. It's like neurotoxic or something. So I use HelloFresh, I think is the brand.
Yeah, okay.
It's
from Whole Foods or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Some woo-woo stuff.
And they're just white like that. That's great.
I've done whitening. I did whitening with my other dentist, who's amazing, Dr. Colleen Lamb in Atlantis Dentistry or whatever in Lake Worth area. She did do whitening on me, but this was like 5 years ago. And to be honest, I feel like it didn't do.
Do you
that
drink
much.
coffee?
Every day.
Yes.
A couple cups.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I drink red wine.
You do? And they're so white. That's amazing.
I don't think they're that white. You guys are going to look at the edit and be like,
No.
she's gaslighting her.
No, they're beautiful. And you know,
Thank you.
And when you do talk to somebody, I always say, just smile. Like,
Yeah.
that's just such a great thing to do. And every time that I find myself in an event, I'm conscious if I'm smiling or not.
Yeah, totally.
Because resting bitchy face is
not good. People will never talk to you.
No.
It's hard. I suffer from that from time to time.
Stop it. You do not.
Good. I'm glad you think I don't.
No.
Okay.
This was so fun. Thank you so much for having me on.
No, thank you for coming on. Episode 2. We'll have another.
Yeah.
We'll have a recap and we'll have another topic. I love topics.
I love topics.
So anyways, we'll have something fun.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on. Everyone, if you're listening to this still, thank you. Love you. Give me a 5-star review. Leave a comment. Only positive energy.
Yes.
Oh, we'll talk about astrology next time because I want to talk about that. Okay. Love you. Bye.
Bye.